What's up, world? Today's video, I want to talk about the tragic event that went down in Aurora with the shooting in the movie theaters. And just, it's a real tragic event, really. But I want to talk about this feeling that's kind of in the country right now, where it's a feeling of coming together. We got to support the community of Aurora because of this tragic event, and I'm all for that. I'm all for Americans supporting Americans, even in times of peace when there are no tragedies going. I would encourage that feeling to carry on, even when there aren't national events like this that take place, because this is an event that carries so much emotional weight, even for people who aren't directly involved in it. I mean, we can look at it from the outside as observers and say, damn, man, that must have been a terrifying event to be going to the movies, some people with their kids, and just start seeing people getting shot. You know, I mean, that's not what you paid to come see. That's not what you were expecting to see. And if you were lucky enough to make it out and survive, it's still going to be, there's going to be so much trauma attached with this event, you know, for those people who might have survived and made it out for the coming weeks and months to come, you know. And then you got the element that there are family members who lost loved ones. That's going to stay with people for years. It's going to take people years to get over this stuff, man. And looking at the event as a whole and how this has been kind of sort of a reoccurring problem throughout our history, where there are random events of violence taken out on random people for no apparent reason, other than the fact that the shooter is a psychopath. You know what I mean? But I'm looking at it, right? I'm looking at this situation and this quote-unquote problem, and I'm watching it develop in the media, on the news cycles. But what I want to encourage people to do, not just keeping and holding on to that feeling of supporting your average American, supporting your fellow countryman in all his endeavors and wishing him well. I want to encourage that feeling, and I want that feeling to progress and carry on past this event, even to when this event is just going to be listed as one of those things that was the worst events in 2012. You know, we got to get past the point where we're split and we're divided as a country. We got to get back to unifying around the general common good. Now, with that being said, I want you all to look at the solutions that are being offered to this situation, and pretty much the only real solution they're coming up with is one that, in effect, doesn't really do anything other than provide a false sense of security, learned helplessness, and things of that nature. When the government pushes for gun confiscation laws, and I can guarantee you there will be legislation on the horizon in the very near future because of this event, similar to how politicians jumped all over the Trayvon Martin case, similar to how when 9/11 happened, the government was right there the very next day trying to introduce the Patriot Act. You know, this idea that somehow giving up your rights and giving up your liberties is going to somehow make you safer is one of the largest, and if not the largest, farce in American history. And it really plays to the undereducation of the average American citizen, as far as their rights and what it means to have them and how important they are. Looking at what they're going to do right now, just last week the UN gun treaty failed in Congress. It didn't get passed. You can bet there will be another vote on that UN gun ban. And then you can also look at just the Obama administration's general attitude towards law-abiding, gun-holding American citizens. It's not very favorable. If anything, it's quite the opposite. You look at the premise behind Fast and Furious and how the Obama administration and Eric Holder's Department of Justice was selling automatic rifles to drug cartels in Mexico, in the event to blame the violence in Mexico on guns coming in from America. But the messed up part about it was the guns that were going into Mexico was coming from our own government, so that our government can use that problem to provide a solution, or provide that problem, wait for the reaction, and then give the solution, which would be assault rifles ban. Now you look at the attitude that the Obama administration has portrayed over the last few years towards guns, and it's not even like telling the future. I already know for sure the Obama administration is going to have some sort of legislation coming out soon to restrict assault rifles. So they botched the Fast and the Furious. Horrible publicity for the Obama administration, and I can guarantee you they're going to take this tragic event, repackage it, and then try to distribute it to the general populace for general consumption. You know what I mean? The idea that you, the average person, should not have a gun is ridiculous, because I can tell you one thing. If about 6 people in that movie theater were concealed carrying with their permit and their gun in that movie theater, I can promise you that shooter wouldn't have been able to injure 70 people. You know, I mean, after about 5 or 6 shots, I can guarantee you at least 3 out of those 6 people who were concealed carrying would have returned fire. You know what I mean? Which would have been enough to deter the slaughter. You know what I mean? That we're seeing on TV with 12 people killed, 70 people injured, and all of that. You know, it's to me, I've never really been like an advocate for guns, because I never really felt like our guns or our right to bear arms was in jeopardy. You know what I mean? Until recently, I'd say within the past year and a half, I kind of started noticing some of the things that the government was doing, the laws they were trying to enact, especially in Chicago, one of the most strictest gun laws in the country, and they have like one of the highest murder rates due to gun violence in Chicago, and it has to do with the fact that a criminal who is a criminal doesn't give a damn about going out and shooting people now, because he knows they're unarmed. You know what I mean? And the idea where if we make it illegal for all law-abiding citizens to hold weapons or keep and bear arms, it would only embolden would-be criminals to be criminal and take out random acts of violence against a helpless population. I mean, the idea that we have to sit around for a few minutes and wait for the police to show up to start shooting back is kind of crazy when you think about it. I mean, if more people were educated in the reason behind having a gun, how to shoot a gun, and they were trained to react with ample reaction time, you know what I mean, to prevent a public threat like a mass shooting, you know what I mean? I think that would be the proper way to address a program like this, would be for the government to say, hey, you know what, we wanna encourage the American people to strengthen their Second Amendment right, you know what I mean, and let them know that if we aren't going to be there, if we can't be there to provide that security, you're on your own, and you need to know how to do it, you know what I mean? So we're going to encourage that the average American go take some training courses or something like that, some kind of go to the gun range once a month, just for your own personal knowledge on how to be comfortable holding a gun, you know what I mean? That would be the proper way for the government to react to this situation, rather than politicizing it and working towards an agenda where we become unarmed. They in return become more empowered, because they're going to have to be the security force in every movie theater and every mall, and that to me is not good. I don't want to see the TSA at the ticket line when I want to go take my son to go see Madagascar, you know what I mean? And then he got to get felt up, I got to get felt up just so we can go watch a cartoon. That's not what I want, you know what I mean? But that's just something that we need to pay attention to. Keep your eyes out on the legislation that will surely be on the horizon in no time at all, looking to restrict your right to hold and possess guns in this country. So just try not to let the media spin this to where you need to be disarmed when you didn't do anything wrong. And again, continue with the condolences, continue to support the families who lost loved ones, because that's a tragic event for anybody to go through. And my hearts go out to y'all. Peace out to the general population who follow me on YouTube. Y'all be easy.